Can't wait for that to loop.
He also was furious about the
I can't wait for that to loop.
Yankees post game. He also was furious about the
I can't wait for that to loop.
Yankees post game. I wish this podcast was called High and Outside.
Going outside, just like I like it.
It's a pretty big fish to fry. It's a pretty big fish to fry. My, oh, my. It's a pretty big fish to fry. It's a pretty big fish to fry. My, oh, my. Last weekend I barely thought I'd make it out alive. Told myself I'd take time and give the world a try. I was alive. My, oh, my.
Oh, it is Wednesday, September the 20th, 2017. You're checking out the premier sports and beer podcast coming to you from all over this great nation, but roots in the Garden State of New Jersey. It's Low and Outside. You can check us out, lowandoutside.com. My name is Jeff. We thank you guys for taking the time to join us this week and every week. We got a panel that's ready to roll tonight, so let's get it kicked off.
Why don't you go back home to your street malls and drink your Zimas and Smirnoff Ices? Oh yeah! The greatest beer in all ever!
Somebody from the bar.
Yeah, I like cool beverage, yeah. I like cool beverage, yeah. I like cool beverage, yeah. Cause I'm feeling kind of parched. Stick it in the fridge, stick it in the fridge, stick it in the fridge.
So tonight, I'm drinking, I think it's a repeat from me on this show, from the Burlington Beer Company. It is a Peasant King Imperial IPA. It was still in my refrigerator, and it needed to go away, but it's still very good. It's just, that's 9% alcohol by volume. I am off tomorrow. I work.
Woo! Lashana Tova, bro.
I work in a school that has given us off for the Jewish holidays. So thank you to my chosen people friends. We hope that your holiday tomorrow is I don't know. Is tomorrow the Day of Atonement, or is tomorrow the New Year? What is it? What is any of you guys know?
Something happens at sundown, I think.
No,
is that a different holiday?
I don't know. Dave, you're half Jewish. Do you have any idea?
Well, it's Rosh Hashanah for those of you playing at home. Lashana Tova, Rosh Hashanah.
Right back.
Yom Kippur is next weekend. Rosh Hashanah. What is Rosh Hashanah?
What's the Day of Atonement?
The New Year, isn't it? The New Year?
Yeah, New Year. Happy New Year.
Yeah, and then isn't Yom Kippur the Day of Atonement?
It's
I
the
don't know.
beginning of the High Holy Days, which ends 10 days out later, which is Yom Kippur, which is next Saturday.
So Yom Kippur is the New Year.
It's the head of the year. It's the head of the new year.
It's like Fat Wednesday right now, and you celebrate for 10 days?
Not quite.
No, okay, I'm getting confused.
All right, listen. I mean, we're asking the half Jew that went to a parochial school for freaking high school.
What school did you go to?
Del Barton.
How do you say it?
Together?
Is that a question?
Wow, that was horrible. From Denville, New Jersey. Please end this. What are you drinking?
I am drinking a Southern Tier. Now, normally this time of year, Southern Tier goes with pumpkin, except this year they put out a variant called cold press coffee pumpkin. 8.6% by volume. I don't taste a lot of coffee, which bums me out. I bought this on the coffee premise. So, but like you, Jeff, I am off tomorrow. Well, I'm half off. I have to lecture at night, but I'm off tomorrow. So I will be enjoying maybe one or more of these. And check us out on lowandoutside.com because I will probably be posting a beer review of this right after the show.
Okay. Let's go over to our nation's capital with Mr. Yampolsky. What do you got there?
So before I talk about what I have real quick, I think that coffee pressed, cold pressed pumpkin.
Cold pressed coffee pumpkin.
Sounds like something you could get at like the new Starbucks that serves alcohol.
Or Dunkin'.
For like $10. So I went into the back of the fridge and, right now we have a plethora of summer shandies that need to be drank.
Yeah.
But I reached in the back and I pulled out a Cape May Brewing Company.
Nice.
Double IPA, Coastal Evacuation. Delicious.
It's an interesting choice for the amount of hurricanes that have been hitting our country. I don't know.
It wasn't. I'm not that punny.
No, that's very true. We need the white man back for the pun hoppy, whatever. Nick, what do you got?
Jeff, as you know, I like to milk my different variety packs of beer. So, of course, I still have Heavy Seas Brewery Loose Cannon IPA, 7.25%. This brewery gets 2 thumbs up.
Really? You like that brewery?
Yeah, I do.
I think it stinks on ice.
Have you been there?
Yeah, I've been there. I actually almost built out one of their store like warehouse restaurant concepts that they were putting in Roslyn, Virginia, which is just over the bridge from Georgetown. They have Loose Cannon's probably their good one, but some of their other beers they stink. They're too heavy.
You're a pussy.
Yeah, well, I'm not denying that.
It is Heavy Seas. It's not the name of the brewery, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Here's my question for you, Nick. When you went down there, was it a brewery? Was it a brew pub? Where did you go?
It was a brew pub. Yeah, they were serving food and stuff, and they had a bar and tables and stuff. But we did a tour too in the back, so they brought us around the whole thing and they showed us everything. Some guy was like coked out of his mind giving us the tour, but it was great.
And that was in Baltimore. That was actually in Baltimore.
No, it was like 20 minutes outside the city.
Okay, and
south.
I forget.
So did you have you had a beer and then you did the tour, or?
No, we were drinking. Yeah, we did a flight and then we walked around with our beer. Yeah.
So the flight and the tour were like and they were happening at the same time, like sequentially.
Correct. Yeah.
So you would say you did those like back to back, is what you're saying?
And a belly to belly.
Where the hell are you going with that?
It was the only one who ever.
That was a serious reach too. Like that wasn't even like something we could actually tee up.
You forced that.
I'll force it all day long. Who cares?
All right. We had such a success with leading off with Who Cares last week. We're going to lead off this week with Who Cares as well. I guess, boys, as you put this on, somebody take it. This one, I think, is yours, Nick, right? This hits home.
Yeah, Lawrence Timmons went AWOL Saturday night. So they had a curfew check-in Saturday night at the hotel, and he wasn't there. And everyone starts texting him and calling him, the linebacker for the Dolphins, and no answer. They wound up filing a police missing persons report. They found him in the LAX airport, and he was going home to see his baby mama in Pittsburgh.
Cali?
So, AWOL, I always forget. What does AWOL stand for?
Absent without leave.
Oh, thank you. God, it's so hard to remember that.
Yeah. Well, your military career has come and gone.
Yeah. Well, all I had going for me in the military was my hair.
Yeah, good point. And now that's gone. So,
yeah, pretty much.
You have to forgive me, Nick. Is this guy a big deal for your team?
I mean, they signed him to like a big contract. I mean, he's probably our best. He's probably our best linebacker, which isn't saying much, but
well, he should be. I mean, he had a great. What did he play? 10 years already? Has it been 10 years? He's been
with the Steelers, so he's been with a good franchise.
I heard the stat that Matt Ryan's been playing for 10 years, and I almost fell over. I was like, no, he hasn't. There's no way Matt Ryan.
2008. That was the class of 2008.
Unfreaking believable.
How about Eli Manning? 13, 14 seasons. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Eli to me feels like he's always been there. Like Matt Ryan, I feel like people were just starting to call him Matty Ice, and that was dumb then. And now
he hasn't even done anything yet.
Yeah, well, played in the Super Bowl.
He went to the Super Bowl.
And lost.
How'd that one go? Well, no one worked out.
Okay. Well, anyway, who cares?
No, but the Timmons situation, he's suspended by the Dolphins, right?
Yeah, they suspended him indefinitely. You're suspended indefinitely.
Okay.
Who cares?
Mike Francesa apparently said that he's definitely done after the 15th of December.
He wanted to make that clear because there was rumors like, "Oh, Carton's gone. Maybe you should stay." And he's like, "I'm done."
Hold on.
What do you do if you're WFAN in that situation? Like I literally throw a bag of money at Francesa.
They probably tried to
the point where he can't say no. Like too much money. Because
is he just tired? Is he just tired?
He's probably tired.
Because I think he's just like hitting his stride right now. He's in like the curmudgeon-y twilight where he is just. The rants are phenomenal, and maybe I'm getting nostalgic because I know it's coming to an end. And I've been listening on the drive home through TuneIn, where you can also find us through TuneIn. But he's killing it.
I think he stinks.
I think he's great.
I think he stinks. I think what you do if you're them, if you're the fan right now, I think what you do instead of throwing a bag of money at Francesa is you throw a bag of money at him and Dog.
Yeah. I didn't
say, and you say serious. You know what? Dog can still stay and do his entire channel, but we're just going to simulcast Mike and the Mad Dog on the Fan and on Sirius, and that's just the way it's going to be.
100%. And you know how good of a move that would be for WFAN if they did that. Like if it worked that way. Like, and for Sirius, it's a win-win for a lot of companies. But yeah, I guess no.
Because to be fair, like Francesa has the institutional memory of the New York sports market. So like everybody knows Francesa. They tune in just because they feel like there's nowhere else to necessarily go. Michael Kay I think he has a better show, but people go to Francesa because he's been on longer, and his show was so much better when there was two of them. It's markedly worse without that second voice.
I'll buy that. I mean, they used to have some unbelievable exchanges, and there's no one to challenge him. So sometimes Francesa just goes off on these
monologues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And God forbid any caller does try and challenge him. He
hangs up on them.
He screams over them and hangs up on them. So it's like that element is missing big time.
But he also has moments where like he should yell at them and hang up on them, right?
Of course, they're New York sports fans. They're mouth-breathing idiots.
Yeah, like there definitely are people that he should hang up on. But I feel like no matter what their opinion is, like they could repeat an opinion that he had the week before, and he'd be like, "That's the stupidest thing I ever heard," and he'd hang up on it.
I never said that. I never said that.
When did I say? Okay. When did I say? I said that. Right, if you listen to the show, you know what I said. Okay. I never said Johnny Manziel would be the best. Okay, I never said that. It's like, no, you did. You said it for like 6 months actually. That Johnny Manziel was going to be the next like. Fucking and now the guy's like legitimately 85 pounds somewhere in a halfway house, shaking in the corner.
Is that Jerry Boyle?
But to be fair, listen, if the Fan isn't interested in bringing back Francesa and throwing a boatload of money, we have 4 guys right now that are recording a podcast that are interested in taking the spot.
Who cares?
Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, think it's not. Okay. I'll put this. I'll even do Francesa for 4 hours.
I don't think you can do it for 4 or 5 hours.
That'll hurt your throat.
It would become just how I talk. Like people would be like, "Hey Jeff, how you doing?" I'm good.
Can you do the rest of the podcast like Francesa?
That'd be torture. We'd have so many people not listening. Kyrie Irving told Stephen A. Smith he didn't tell LeBron he wanted to leave.
No comment on this one. This is not news.
That's the point of this segment. I don't know if you're new to this.
He's getting annoyed with the segment that he likes.
I created this monster and I will kill it at the same time. This is garbage. This guy's a fucking asshat.
Nobody wants to.
Aside from them being asshats, what's the big deal?
Right. Who cares? Honestly, this is the definition of who cares. Like
either he told LeBron or he didn't. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, LeBron said this. Oh, Kyrie said that. And Stephen A. Smith just gets to yell loudly with a microphone and make millions of dollars. Who fucking cares?
The only thing that bothers Stephen A. Smith more is that one of those guys isn't white, so he can make them into the bad guy.
Yeah, seriously.
Who cares?
This was my favorite story from the week, hands down, was Kevin Durant forgetting to change his Twitter account from his main account to his burner accounts. And he starts replying to tweets and starts trashing Billy Donovan and the rest of the players on Oklahoma City about how bad they were and he couldn't do anything there. And then got caught. And it was awesome. And for him, he was just like, yeah, he had nothing. He couldn't say anything. So he was just like, yeah, I did that. That was weird. I just find it weird that athletes nowadays have to like make burner accounts and talk themselves up on social media.
Skip Bayless got caught doing that one time too. I think
It's
when
just
they
like
first started the Undisputed or whatever it was called.
Yep. But Skip Bayless,
He tweeted at like the account like, "Oh, Skip, great job! I love the show." And he's like on his own account, and everyone just called him out for that.
I love it.
What's his burner like? What would your burner account be like?
You could make anything. Like
Bums Fast?
No, you could be like any name. You can just sign up as like John Z 47983.
Yeah. Okay. So how did they know it was KD?
Because he was on KD. He was on his account.
Oh,
Like his verified account.
Yeah, he forgot to change.
I got it. I'm a little slow on the uptake here.
But I like that question though. If you guys were to create a burner account
At not Yabo 30.
Definitely not Yabo 30.
the account would just be at definitely not Yabo there. I think that's a little too long. I don't think anybody would take the time to type.
No, I just said at not or at not DY.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Cove would be a spoof Ben Affleck account.
I don't get that.
I actually retract it. Mine would be at Scott Farrell.
That may be taken. I'm not entirely sure.
That's Scott Farrell. Combination of his luggage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Amazing. I think I would do like I'd pick some like really old school like WWF wrestler. Like I'd be like at the Berserker or something from like 1980 like 6 that like 5 people would get.
Would you like to suck my cock, Berserker?
That is not what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I have one more to add.
Was that his
Oh,
theme
wait,
song?
hold on. We have to do this first for the burner accounts.
Who cares?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. There's a I don't know if you can call him a journalist, and I could not pull his name from the trash pile right now. But there was a story on ESPN.com where some assbag interviewed David Johnson and asked him initially about his timetable of return from surgery and if he was concerned about his impact on ruining fantasy football teams across the country.
I mean, he kind of did.
Just let that marinate for a second.
It's big money, man.
I can't stand people that call out athletes on Twitter and stuff. Like, how could you do this? Get back in the game, Jordy Nelson. Are you kidding me? Like,
Golden Tate had a great response.
Loser.
Golden Tate had a great response on Twitter. Someone was like dogging him like, "You're no longer my favorite WR1. I needed 9 points and you came up with 7.5." And the guy and Golden Tate tweeted back to him and said, "Dear sir, the Detroit Lions won on Monday night. That's all that matters. Fantasy doesn't amount for shit." He didn't say that, but you know.
It's unbelievable that we live in a world where somebody could actually tweet at a professional wide receiver and be like, "You're no longer my fave WR1," and like that makes sense.
And he responded.
Right? People read that, they're like, "Oh man, I'm no longer his favorite WR1."
He's like, "Go screw. The Lions won. That's all that matters. Jerk off."
Like you're composing that. And like, what do you think is the best case scenario after you send that tweet? Is Golden Tate responding to you like, "Dear sir, I apologize that I'm no longer your favorite WR1. I'll work harder to improve your fantasy team next." Like,
well, he actually did the first half. He just said, "But all that matters is, we won, and screw your fantasy team." It's crazy. It's crazy. He's a bunch of nerds who never even fucking played football.
Nerds, couple of nerds.
Who cares?
We have a killer college football segment coming up right now.
I thought this was part of Who Cares.
But we're missing our fireside chat leader, Sean. I don't know where he is tonight. I think
AWOL. Somebody call the LAX airport.
We already suspended him indefinitely. So
I've already forgotten what AWOL means.
That's nice. So in college football, let's take this let's take the second part first here. Lamar Jackson, out of the Heisman running, Nick?
I would say so. Yeah, I think that mainly because the competition's so tight with Sam Darnold and Sam Rosen and
Josh
Baker
Rosen.
Mayfield that
Sam Rosen's in NHL.com, or that's Dan Rosen. God damn it.
Josh Rosen. There's too many.
Josh Rosen. Yeah, Sam Rosen's the Rangers announcer.
Shana Tova, Rosen's.
Yeah, they're also.
What is the Jewish holiday? So,
And the sun's down, so they're not listening.
no, but I think the way that he played Saturday night was very disappointing because he played better last year in Clemson, and now that they were home, they just got their asses kicked. So, I think he's definitely out of the race.
I think my bigger deal is, and again, this is coming from the Jet fan. Like after watching Rosen, Josh Rosen, Sam Rosen, Steve Rosen, Frank Rosen, whatever we decide his name is after tonight, there's no way I'm drafting him. No way. Like, did you guys watch that game?
No, I was borderline blackout.
I saw he had 2 picks, but he probably should have had 4, right?
It wasn't even the stats, because the stats can tell a different story based on the whole game. Like I'm sure he played decent for the first 3 quarters of the game, but the fourth quarter where it matters, which is exactly what you're looking for in a quarterback, he looked horrible. I mean, he was not only was he throwing interceptions, but he just looked frozen. Like he wasn't making plays, wasn't reading the field, was throwing the ball behind receivers. It was just bad.
What was the final?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, but Jeff, he did that game against Texas A&M when they were down by like 40, and he came back and they beat them all in the fourth quarter. That was pretty impressive, no?
It was impressive, but even I thought this from that week was that he got a couple lucky breaks in that fourth quarter. He threw 2 balls that should have been picked easy, that were gifts that they broke for big plays. So it wound up working out for him and made him look good, but I wasn't impressed with him. He was not making good decisions in those games. It just happened to be one of those fluke games where you just mount an insane comeback and things break your way.
I also I look at these crop of quarterbacks, and to me, it reminds me of the year that Eli and Ben and Phillip Rivers came out, and I was watching all 3 of those quarterbacks play in college. It was really probably the last time I paid attention to quarterbacks in college for whatever reason. And I remember at the time watching Roethlisberger's footwork and just being like, this guy's probably going to be the best quarterback out of those 3, because he just looked like he was always composed. He looked like no matter what happened, he was able to set and get the ball off. Now, it's easy to say that, especially in hindsight, because everybody will agree that that's definitely true. Maybe you won't necessarily agree that he's the best out of the 3 of those guys, but you will agree that no matter what's happening, he sets his feet and gets the ball off. After I watched Baker Mayfield do what he did 2 weeks ago, there's no way I'm drafting Rosen over Mayfield. There's no way, because Mayfield did that against Ohio State. Like, forget about the comeback that Rosen had in the fourth quarter. Mayfield dominated one of the top 10 teams in the country in their building. It doesn't get any more pressure filled than that. So for me, the ceiling for that kid is much higher than Rosen. And so that was the nail in the coffin for me when I watched him throw balls behind receivers and not make plays and totally shit the bed in the fourth quarter in a game where they needed to have their best player be their best player. For me, I was like, that's it. Now, that being said, fast forward until April, he's probably wearing a New York Jet uniform.
Yeah, I mean, come on, a Rosen in New York?
I don't know how you feel about this, Jeff, but I see a lot. I mean, it would be a ridiculously high ceiling, and I think any team would sign up for it. But I see a lot of Matt Stafford in Mayfield. I think that might be his ceiling in the NFL.
Are you just comparing him that because of Oklahoma?
No. I mean, it's odd that's.
Well, Stafford went to Georgia.
Yes, yeah, he did go to Georgia.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, totally.
I never said that.
I never said he went to Oklahoma.
I don't know. They just for some reason I'm reminded of him, and I think he's going to be have we had any really good quarterbacks come out the past
maybe would you consider Jameis Winston?
Winston I would. Yes, definitely.
Johnny Manziel.
I don't know. I think he's really going to be a really good NFL quarterback.
Johnny Manziel.
I haven't felt that way in a while.
When was the last time you felt that way, Brett?
A while, I think I just said.
Andrew Luck?
Yeah, Luck was a pretty sure thing.
Peyton Manning?
The thing is about, like you're talking about, Jeff, fourth quarter play, right? That's part of what would come under the intangible category, right? Someone that can play, well in a high pressure situation, but also intangibles, include off field issues and off field commitment. And I'm as big a Baker Mayfield fan as anyone, but there's obvious questions off the field whether or not he's really committed to his craft. And who knows what happens if he gets drafted high in the first round, if that gets to his head and he doesn't play as well.
Yeah, but that's bullshit because and you with the dopey helmet, the Carvel helmet you got on the back of your office there, you don't know because you were not around when this happened. But Marino had all sorts of questions too because they thought he was smoking pot. And
he was doing coke.
And he fell because they thought he had a drug problem, and he turned out to be Dan fucking Marino. So,
yeah, but he didn't have a drug problem though. He actually, it was just all made up. The Baker Mayfield stuff, he was like convicted of stuff.
What? Oh, stuff. Can we define stuff?
I read a stat. It said that sometimes Baker Mayfield was convicted of stuff.
When Wade Phillips was the defensive coordinator of the other team.
Sometimes it's on
a Sunday.
Something.
That fucking Instagram beefcake. Instagram beefcake.
I don't know.
I thought you were going to say moxie, and I was going to reach through the screen and slap the taste out of your mouth. He's got that moxie. I fucking hate that. He's a game manager.
I just think for me, forget about the Heisman. I know we had started this conversation talking about Lamar Jackson jumping out of the Heisman based on his performance, but for me, I'm looking at who's going to be the most NFL ready, and I think when I look at all those quarterbacks right now, to me, it's still Mayfield. So we'll see how that shakes out. We also have on here that Clemson still looking dominant. We talked a little bit about that game when we had touched on Jackson. Any other takes, Nick, or no?
I mean, Sean was talking about the defense being ferocious, and they were just every bit as good as I would have expected. But they just keep pumping out quarterbacks, too. I mean, they had Taj Boyd for a while, Deshaun Watson, and now this new kid that comes in. I mean, he threw some bombs in that game that were just beautiful throws.
Yeah. I mean, they're good. I mean, they're just good. Where do you put them? Do you still put them 2?
I would put them 2, yeah.
Because nobody can freaking crack that Alabama nut, huh? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, we won't know until playoff, but.
Well, no, didn't Sean say last week that they're playing LSU in November?
Yeah, LSU just got throttled by Mississippi State at home.
So who knows?
I mean, it's funny. I read an article that said about this past week of college football that was like, just when you think we know everything about the teams and we know where everyone's going to shake out, college football throws you on its head. So whatever. This week is not a particularly exciting week. There's a few interesting matchups, but they're all kind of fringe at the bottom of the top 25 matchups. You got Michigan State, Notre Dame,
and Rutgers, Nebraska.
Listen, Rutgers, Nebraska, 65-0 Morgan State.
Whatever, yeah, Paul.
The jacuzzi was lit.
This is JP. I had a great time at the Rutgers game.
Sure,
they won.
The jacuzzi was lit with a black light. They were like, "Look at all this gross shit."
We'll wait for Sean to come back to talk more college football.
Yeah, I mean, but you said it is kind of a slow week, so we'll wait.
Next,
the National Football League. Mr. Yampo.
Lot to talk about.
I would like to play a game that
over under.
No, not over under. I'd like to play a game where I'm going to throw this out to you, and I want you to tell me who this is. Okay, this is just for you. You ready?
Ready.
Okay. Organization brings in a guy that runs an offense that had tremendous success somewhere else with other personnel. Okay. They have maybe one of, if not the youngest, hottest guy in the league doing things that every team would want to have. Former league MVP on the team too, right? Former MVP. And they have an offensive threat that everybody on their team would want. Who am I talking about?
The New York Football Giants?
No, I'm talking about last year's New York Knicks. Sorry, that's. I know it sounds a lot like the
Giants. Sounds so familiar.
That's the New York Knicks we're talking about.
Oh,
sorry,
wow,
but just like the New York Knicks from last year, the New York Giants are not quite a super team, and they are performing just as poorly In my opinion, they're missing the intangibles that Nick team was missing. They threw a lot. They built it like it was almost like a fantasy team, and they ignored the things that they needed to be the glue to put it together. So instead of bashing your team, you have the opportunity. Take the microphone. Tell us what the hell's going on with the Giants.
Sure. Listen,
in 5 minutes or less.
Okay. I've always been someone who believes in the offensive line play. I've talked about that. I think I talked about that ad nauseum last year. Okay. I love the O-line play. It's essential to a successful team, period. That's how you create the run, and that's how you enable the pass. That being said, this offensive line has been an issue for a few years, and masking it by getting a Brandon Marshall and drafting Sterling Shepard and Ingram and having all these weapons that you can't use if your 9th round pick or 10th round pick in the first round can't even make a block on a guy who had 1 career sack or 1 sack last year. I mean, Eric Flowers, his form is just unbelievably bad. They cannot make adjustments to help him because then those guys can't get out and run routes. But the problem here is you got a quarterback in Eli Manning who is not mobile by any means. Every once in a blue moon, he does some wacky shit where he gets out of a play or gets decked and throws the ball and gets lucky. But he does not respond well to pressure. And this team, I don't know what they could have done, to be honest with you. I don't know if they don't sign Brandon Marshall and go out and sign, TJ Lang or, Whitworth or whatever the other guy's name was who was a coveted O-line free agent. But they got a couple holes in this line. And
guys,
if they don't fix it or they don't address it, or they need to make a change. They need to shift some guys around this week. If they don't, I just don't know how you put Eric Flowers out there on an island by himself. I don't know how you do it.
And then refuse to
help him.
Yeah, to try and fix it. That's the most mind-boggling.
You take arguably your best lineman, your left guard, Pugh, and you put him at right tackle. And now you absolutely can't run the fucking ball up the middle.
And instead, after the game, McAdoo is calling out Eli.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little overblown.
I do too. I don't, and I think Eli can handle.
Hold on, because it's been all over sports media. We have Chris Gannon lone outside listener checking in, saying Eli is a duck. I don't know if he's saying that Eli's the problem. His comment is that his feet move more than Sammy Davis Jr. in the pocket. He's awful, and his best pass on Monday was a blind throw. So clearly, people are taking shots at Eli. So, from my perspective, I'm not a Giant fan. I think that's very unfair because I think that the time that he has to do anything, is almost non-existent. And he's got his head coach blaming him for sloppy quarterback play. But meanwhile, the head coach has done nothing to scheme anything differently to give him more time. He's not given him, any opportunity to dump the ball off to Shane. Shane Vereen basically doesn't exist in your offense, which makes no sense to me at all. I don't understand what the hell the Giants are doing. I really don't. And Rich Cimini, a beat writer for the Jets, I sent it to you earlier in the week, Ampo. He tweeted out that over the last 10 games, the Jets have outscored the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants haven't cracked 20 points in their last 9 games. It's insane with the amount of talent and the weapons that they have. But the fact remains, if you don't get 3 seconds to throw the ball off, I mean, you take a 3-step drop, you got guys in your face. No matter what weapons you have, guys aren't going to have time to get open. And even when they do, Brandon Marshall's dropping balls down the sideline. What the fuck is that about?
But
Brandon Marshall's going to drop balls. That's a thing.
I didn't know. I mean, I never really watched that much of Brandon Marshall.
Hold on. Right. Let's take a pause here because, Brett, you're the only one on this panel right now.
Yeah.
That Brandon Marshall hasn't played for the team that you root for.
That is true.
Right. So Nick, did you or did you not enjoy Brandon Marshall when you had him?
I enjoyed him for 1 year, but the second year, all he does is just create controversy and kind of ruins the locker room chemistry because he wants the ball every play. And when he doesn't have the ball, he starts complaining and bickering. He had I think 2011 was his last year with Miami. He had, I would say, a personal foul penalty on almost every, third or fourth series. He just does that because he gets frustrated.
I think that's 6 years. That's 6 years ago, Brandon Marshall.
Hold on. But that first year that you had him, Nick.
Yes. Awesome. 2010, he actually made our offense somewhat respectable.
I'm asking. First year he was a Jet. He was one of my favorite players that had put on the uniform. Again, it fell apart after that. But while he was there for his first year, he was incredible. So I'm looking at that as an outsider going, you're going to get that Brandon Marshall. You're going to get the Brandon Marshall that's coming to the team for the first year. And within the first 2 weeks,
yeah,
he has not been that guy.
Yeah, and listen, here's the thing. Listen, it's not Brandon Marshall's fault. Let's be clear about that. Okay. But the fact remains this offense is putrid. And when Eli happens, when Marshall happens to get open, runs the right route, and Eli puts the ball on him, the guy's got to catch it. That was a critical point in the game, and it was a big play. That being said, he's not the problem. The O-line's the problem. And the lack of urgency in the offense when they're down 14 points with 8 or 9 minutes to go in the game, it's like McAdoo's running an offense in the first quarter. What's he setting up? He's running the ball.
He's
I don't know.
got his diner play sheet.
I don't know. I mean, they either got to shake up the line, or it's just going to be, we're going to be staring 0-3 in the face. I mean, Giants do not play well in Philadelphia. The Eagles are always super aggressive when they play the Giants. It's just not a good matchup for the Giants, and particularly not in Philadelphia. So they go 0-3. They're basically not good enough to win, to go, 10-3.
They got some hard games this year too. After 0-3, it doesn't get easier.
No.
So
No.
Mike, you're the gambler on the podcast. If you had to throw money right now down, Giants make the playoffs, Giants don't make the playoffs, and it's even odds both sides. What are you taking?
Not making the playoffs.
Just based on the 0-2, or based on 0-2 and what?
No. Listen, I'm not in panic mode about the record. I think this week truly is. It sounds so cliche because it's so early, but you go 0-3 in this division, you're going to fall behind pretty quick. Cowboys. I don't know.
Cowboys they don't look any
No,
good.
they're not. They don't look great. The Cowboys don't look great. The Skins don't scare me, but the Eagles, only a handful of people pick the Eagles to win the division. Who knows? I mean, maybe they could have one of those years where the division's mediocre. I don't think they make the playoffs based on what I see from the offense and the stubbornness of the head coach. I think there's a lot of talent there, and I think, they could turn it around. I'm certainly not going to harken back to 2007 when they were 0-2 and got slaughtered by the Packers at home in Game 2, had given up 80 points in the first 2 games, then turn around and win the Super Bowl. I don't think this team is capable of that, because the offensive line back then was their best unit.
Which has a really big domino effect, because if their offensive line doesn't get fixed, their defense stays out on the field.
Well, yeah.
And they're right now, their point differential in the entire NFC is -30. That leads the NFC. And that's just your defense being out on the field constantly.
Not only that, I mean, if you just look at it, it's what, 19 points from the Cowboys, which was 1 touchdown. But they spent the whole first fucking half on the field. 61 offensive plays for the Cowboys in the first half. And then last week, they only gave up 17 points, but they had a turnover. And then the next play, Eli goes ahead and turns the ball back over. I mean, he threw it behind Ingram, and it got tipped, and it was a pick. So that kind of shit can't happen. And the punt return that got, taken back. So that game was a lot closer than I think the score indicated. But this offense is not – they come out and they go 3 and out. The defense has a big stop. They get off the field, and then the offense comes out and goes 3 and out. There's no creativity. They got to make some changes on the line. They got to mix it up. They got nothing to lose.
So here's my question, right? Because I don't remember where I heard it. I heard it on some show earlier this week. It might have been today. That a quote from Jeff Van Gundy, again, different sport, but a quote from Jeff Van Gundy was, franchises change coaches to basically throw the fans a bone to hide the bigger problem. So in my perspective, that's 100% what the Giants did when they got rid of Coughlin. Do you envision? I mean, this is a franchise that's had 4 general managers in the history of their franchise. Do you envision, if this season goes south really bad, a complete reboot, or do you think they stay the course?
I think. Okay, first of all, let me address.
Hold on. Let's take this 2 parts. Do you think a complete reboot, or do they stay the course? And what would you, as a Giant fan, like to see?
Okay, I'll answer those 2 questions. But first, I just want to say I think Coughlin got yanked because of the defense, and then they went out and spent all that money on the defense.
Well, that's my point, right? Okay. That was the bigger problem. It wasn't him. It was that the personnel was dog.
Okay, right. Are they rebooting? Will they reboot or stay the course? I think they stay the course. You only got Eli Manning for another year or 2. You got a bunch of weapons around him. You got a bunch of good players on the defensive side of the ball that are signed through the next year or 2, right? You got a couple. So you got a good core group of people there. You got to figure out the line. Can you make a free agent splash on the line? Is there someone worth getting? I think they stay the course. As far as the general manager is concerned, everybody who I'm friends with who's a Giants fan, we've been talking, and the guys who know the game and study the game and pay attention, Jerry Reese has had enough good picks to keep him alive for a long time. But he's getting to the point where there have been some. I mean, he's just blatantly ignored the offensive line situation this year. DJ Fluker doesn't count as making a splash on the offensive line. I love the Marshall signing. I would do it again. I think if this offensive line could get it together and the offense could gel, I think they could put a ton of points on the board. But for some reason, this team cannot break 20 points. It's unbelievable.
Can I ask a question with not knowing the financials of this at all?
Sure.
So Jerry Reese went out and spent $200 million on the defense and fixed it.
Rightfully so.
Right, and fixed it.
It's a disaster.
But he can't turn around and spend $200 million on offense to fix it.
Right.
Because Beckham's got to get signed, right? So that's a ton of money.
Yep.
And so where are they cap-wise? Does Reese even have the ability to go out and fix the line?
They have some room. I mean, they can't go out and sign, the biggest free agent O-lineman out there in the next, maybe not even the second biggest, but,
but the solution to that, in my opinion, is draft guys early that are stud linemen that you could put at a guard position or a tackle position that you're going to pay, $900K for their first 4 years in the league. That's the solution.
But Reese just missed on that with Flowers.
Right. But the bottom line is, to Nick's point, you have the most dynamic player that's on your roster right now is in what year is Beckham in? His third year, his second year?
Fourth.
In his fourth year. So he's about to legitimately enter 3 or 4 years of his complete prime. Eli has maybe 3 years left.
Maybe. At this rate,
if he gets on that TB12 diet.
Kale smoothies.
Yuck. But realistically, if he's got 3 years left, Nick, you can't rely on the draft for that. You can't put some wet behind the ears guy in at left tackle like they're doing and expect him to be any better than what they have now.
Yeah, I mean,
but he sucks though. Flowers. That was a bust though.
Listen, Flowers a bust. I think they want. Here's the other issue with Jerry Reese. For some reason, he will not trade up. He will not move up. He refuses to move up in the draft. And when the Redskins got wind that they wanted Sheriff, the Redskins jumped the Giants and took him. That's who I wanted. That's who a lot of us wanted. They ended up taking Flowers, or they ended up taking Eli Apple, I think, in that draft.
Right.
But the year that Flowers was there, I think a guy like Matthews is there, and he in his second year, now is his third year in Atlanta. He's a solid the family pedigree. I mean, the guy's got. I don't know. He's just a big swing and a miss. And the knock on Flowers was always his technique and his holds coming out of college. I don't know how you missed that in the scouting report, but
he was a right tackle.
Yeah.
He was a right tackle in college. He held all the time.
What I say you do is you move Pugh back to left guard, throw Flowers over to the right side, so at least Eli can see who's coming at him full steam ahead, and put Fluker on the left. Okay? Fluker was a starter at Alabama. I know he fucking sucked on the Chargers, and I know they got rid of him. You got to mix it up. Got to do something.
Yeah, but the point was, they didn't hit on Flowers because it was bad scouting. A guy like Laramie Tunsil, the guy that had the bong mask on that the Dolphins wanted him getting, he's a stud. They just plugged him right in, and he played very well. It's a matter of scouting the right players, not because he's a big guy and he's 300 pounds. That doesn't mean anything.
The Giants don't like to get into the controversy thing. The Giants don't want to deal with that. I think they got scared by the bong mask thing, which was totally overblown and ridiculous. Everybody. It's ridiculous.
Half the league got scared by it. It wasn't like the Giants were the only team.
No, I'm not saying that just one case. I'm saying there's guys in college that you can just plug in right away because they're that good. Giants have to find a couple of those guys.
Come on, it's not that easy.
I'll tell you where they're not going to do it. They're not going to trade. They're not going to trade because you'd have to give up something on the defensive side of the ball to get a Joe Staley or somebody for a year or two, or Joe Thomas. This is not worth it.
I'm high on the Staley move. I really am. I think that fixes the problem.
But you got to give up.
Sure.
Not if you give up snacks in the process.
Yeah. I mean,
you can't take out the heart of a defense or a huge part of your defense.
Draft pick.
Dude, people do not run the ball on the Giants that well. And when they did, Janoris Jenkins being out, that he's an underrated physical tackling cornerback. Anyway, it's going to be interesting to see how they respond. I mean, it's kind of like you're playing for your season more or less in week 3 sounds totally ridiculous. And I hate that cliche, but
you can't lose. You can't win the division in the
you can lose it in September.
Thanks, Susan. That fucking Instagram beefcake.
I don't know. Let's move on from the Giants because I think Eli's been getting unnecessarily bashed, and we'll see what they do this week.
Well, Just one more thing before, and really quick, the whole thing about McAdoo saying something to Eli, I think, not the greatest idea to do it. I'm not sure what his motivation was to say something in front of the New York media, and he was going to get blown out of proportion. If anybody could take it, it's definitely Eli. He needs to be better. You make the decision, go for it on 4th and 2 on the goal line. You got to manage it. You can't have a fucking delay a game. Anyway,
I still think he take the points.
You take the points all day.
All right, it's whatever. The New York Jets, very quickly. First half, they were in the game, and it was surprising to me. I posted something to our Twitter, Low Outside Sport. It was a conversation between me and a couple other Jet fans, where one guy said at one point in the first half, he said, we better bench McCown because he might accidentally win us a game, and we can't have any of that. He's doing exactly what you would expect a journeyman veteran quarterback to do. He's taken the stuff that's there. He's taken the 3 to 5 yard passes that are there, and they move the chains when they can. They're putting up 10 to 15 to 20 points a game, and the defense looks like hot trash. And then they muff a punt, and they give up a score at right before the half. And before you know it, Marshawn Lynch is eating Skittles on the sideline and dancing the friggin' Macarena in Oakland. I mean, that's just how the game went. From my perspective, I ran the gamut of emotions in that game because, it's weird. It's a weird feeling to watch your team play and not really expect them to win and not really root for them to win. I haven't really experienced it before.
How can you sit there and watch your team and not root for them to win?
Because there's so many holes, and I've watched so many years of this team, sabotage their long-term success to squeak out, a 7-9 season. And I've said for years, the worst thing to be in the NFL is mediocre. And so this team is built poorly. They have a very, very little talent on the team. And so it's clear to me that the plan is to break it down and start from scratch. And I'm okay with that. But it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch and know that every game, especially when you're playing a team that, like, the Raiders are legitimate Super Bowl contender. So you don't expect to win that game. But, this week with Miami coming in, it's a home game. It's the home opener. I want them to do well, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind a really competitive game and losing in the fourth quarter.
There's no way you're not going to be hammering Bud Lights at $9 a piece. I'm sorry, $11 a piece, yelling at Nicky next to you in his Jay Cutler jersey. There's no way.
First of all, there's two things that I'll address there. I don't drink Bud Light. I hate Bud Light. Miller Lite maybe.
I'll tell you what you're not drinking.
And two, the Jay Cutler situation. So I want to go on record here and say that
you watched on a bet.
I still intend to make good on the bet, but I did. I
didn't say it.
I did encounter what professionals would refer to as the golden sombrero. I went to 4 different liquor stores this week, and none of them had Mad Dog.
How is that possible?
Because he's not living in the slums of Camden.
Yeah, but hold on. I feel like you could. I don't think it's that hard to find Mad Dog. I was actually surprised, genuinely surprised that you went to a couple of places and they didn't have it.
4
on the shelf somewhere.
4, not a couple. I went to 4.
Amazon definitely has it.
I went to 2. You can't order booze off of Amazon.
Well, if you can't, you probably will be able to.
Jeff Bezos says so.
I went to 4 liquor stores. The last one I went to today was like the shadiest of all of them. And the guy was like, he's like, I think my buddy definitely has it. Hold on. And he starts calling his friend. He's like, yeah, so if you go down to this store, he goes, it's kind of a sketchy area. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just not doing that. Like, I'm just not doing that.
No,
so
you gotta go to those ABC stores that have like the bulletproof like glass in front.
Yeah.
So, like, you make your order.
We got plenty of those here.
And the guy like turns around and like gets it for you. Like, you can't even go in the store.
Right. So here's the deal. I 100% before this football season is over, I will make good on that bet. But I legitimately tried for the last 3 days to get it, and I couldn't do it. So I'm not welching on it. It will happen. I will do it. If somebody can get their hands on it, I will gladly come and get it from them if I don't get it myself.
I think Basket of Cheer in Rockaway definitely has MD 2020.
Well, I don't live anywhere near that.
I know, but Brett does.
I will take a look for you. And for the record, you can buy wine on Amazon, but you cannot buy Mad Dog.
Okay, and hold on.
Ah,
Just to up the ante, Jeff. Just to up the ante, not let you off the hook.
Yeah, I don't want to be let off the hook.
I know, and we let him off the hook. I think you should have to increase the consumption of Mad Dog for we'll do every 2 weeks that you don't do it.
I don't know what that means.
So by next week, if you don't have it, you have to drink 2 Mad Dogs.
oh God.
It's just not,
That's right.
it's just not happening.
You'd have to drink them. You'd have to drink them in order.
Like back to back.
And belly to belly.
So the Yankees played this afternoon, right? And I'm listening to it on my way home, and
No, the Yankees didn't play. They had batting practice today.
they beat the hell out of them. So I'm listening to it on the way home, and Sterling, like in the middle, he's like giving the stats, right? So he's like, I guess Judge and Sanchez.
They went back to back today.
And belly to belly.
So in the middle of telling the stats, it's like this, like the bottom of the 7th inning, and they're up like 11-3, and he's like, "Yeah, and earlier in the game, you know, we had Judge and Sanchez. They went back to back at a belly to belly." Like he said it like
Like it's a sentence.
So nonchalant.
God forbid he talks to his freaking color woman.
I told you like several weeks ago. I dropped it at work in a meeting, and then I, continually, if people say that, I end up just blurting it out. I can't help myself. So the other day, I said to my boss, I said, "Well, what? You have a couple meetings back to back," and he turned around and goes, "And a belly to belly." And I was like, "You are from Boston.
You want to go belly to belly with me? I'll do that.
First of all, if you were to write a book, Yampo, it would be "I just blurted it out. I couldn't help myself" by Dave Yampolsky.
An autobiography.
Well, Craig Carton's book was called Loudmouth.
Yeah, similar. Listen, I think I hear the
Speaking
bell.
of Carton,
Listen, Jeff, I have a real problem with you not rooting for your team in the sense that you sit there and you're like, I kind of want them to lose because
Bad.
they don't have enough talent that they're going to be 4-12 or 3-13 anyway.
That might not be good enough
For what?
to get the kid that I want. I mean, it might not be good enough to get me.
That's the kid that you want. Thankfully, you don't work in the front office of the New York Jets.
Sadly, I don't work in the front office of the New York Jets because we'd have a better offensive line. We'd maybe be playing our kid quarterbacks right now to see if
we have a better podcast setup too.
That's probably. I probably wouldn't be doing this with you losers.
Would you not? Okay, so now as we start to have kids who get older and the games come on, you're already kind of like, well, I watch, but I can't root for them. I got a preschool fucking picnic this Sunday.
Right.
Starts at 3:30, and Joni's a room mom, so we got to be there at 3 supposedly.
Oh boy,
Giants are on at 1. You're telling me, and they're on national TV, so I can just watch it here from the couch. You're telling me I have to leave here, not the start of the second half, to go fucking stand in a park with a bunch of kids running around like fucking hoot nannies?
I don't know. Do you?
yes. Well, you gotta get NFL Mobile.
How do I have NFL Mobile?
Come on. Do you?
Use it.
Is that what's going to happen?
I don't know. I'm scared.
See, that's a tale of a marriage. That's not a tale of a fan. That's a,
I respect my wife. I love my kids.
Draw the line in the sand and say, listen, it's week 3 of the freaking NFL season. You're going to go to my park classroom play date, whatever the fuck it's called. I don't understand.
It's like the school family. It's not that. It's the school.
To be fair, that would absolutely never happen in my life because if you want to peek behind our curtain, my wife's baby shower, we have one child. My wife's baby shower was the day of a Jet game. And she looked at me and she goes, if you don't go to that Jet game, I'm going to be mad at you for about a week and a half. You're not going to stay home to show up for 3 minutes at my dopey baby shower that I don't even want. We paid for the Jet game. You're going to the Jet game.
She's like, go to the Jet game.
Yes.
That's good. That's great. Good for you.
But
He's like, good for you, man.
I got a wife who's a Lions fan who, I come home to watch the game. I didn't go to the bar to watch with my buddies. She's on her fucking phone half the game. I go, this is a lot of fun to watch the game with you, babe. Appreciate it.
So was she?
Okay, yeah, but she's a Lions fan. Like every girl likes a team, but it's like,
was she tweeting Golden Tate like you're no longer my favorite #1 WR?
That was her tweet. God damn it.
Golden Taint.
That was the name of my fantasy team last year.
Golden Taint. So long story short, the Jets, I root for them to look decent for part of the game, ultimately lose, and have some of those young kids, the young hot guys,
these hot guys
in the secondary perform and improve each week. That's kind of where I'm at with it, and it's frustrating.
You know what it is? I liken it to Nick's college career, where he would He would be amped up for a Saturday night. He'd do some pre-gaming. Everyone's having a great time. Maybe do a little power hour. Go out to the bar. Whatever. Have a few beers. Look at some girls. Girls are looking good. Then all of a sudden, it's a slippery slope. Fireball starts flowing. Next thing you know, taking home a 2.
Come on, it was a 3.5.
Okay.
I don't know. All right, so let's move on. The boy, Brett, your boys obviously bounced back big.
He was a 2.
Kind of what we expected, right?
Yeah, they took care of business down in New Orleans. I'm still worried about their defense.
I told you those fuckers weren't fucking losing.
Yeah, that was a great lock. That was. Kudos.
How was the Redskins lock?
Fuck off.
Let's I don't know. Let's not go there yet.
We just don't want to talk to Brett and the Patriots.
No,
That's okay.
Although I don't know who's going to be bagging groceries this week and playing receiver for him.
I do want to talk a bit about the Pats because I think Gronk looks slow. I think he looks slow and old.
I said that last week.
He had like 5 catches for like 120 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, but
you watch slow and old about that.
You watch the morons that were covering him. They were falling down, and he was like stepping over people like he was a kid on a freaking he was Billy Madison on the dodgeball court.
But that's kind of what Gronk is.
He was Mike Striffler in high school.
But he's also a guy who's
Way to tell a joke that 6 people get.
He's also a guy that's been injured his entire career, and that definitely takes a toll on people.
No.
So it will affect the way you look, and he got hurt again. Surprise, surprise.
He got hurt again. So you got Edelman out. You got Gronk battling injuries. He's going to battle them all year.
Yep.
I just think at a certain point, like it might. I don't think it's going to prevent you from winning the division, but all of that might add up, and it might cut you off at the knees there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, injuries are a part of the game.
Everyone on this panel can only hope so. It is infuriating. It is infuriating talking to you about the Patriots because not only are you totally watching something else on TV and acting totally above the conversation.
First of all,
you were like, yeah, injury is a part of the game. Yeah,
it sounds like fucking Bill Belichick.
Yeah, you're like the most infuriating person to have a conversation with about this.
Okay, first of all, I'm watching the Devils and the Rangers.
It's fucking preseason.
I'm enjoying it, and that's good. Yeah. And I'm tuned into what we're talking about. So, I don't know. I don't know how else you want me to feel about them.
To be fair, he can basically tune out till about January, and then that's when his team actually.
Guys, are we talking football now? All right.
The Patriots could legitimately start 0-6 and still win the division.
Baseball's right around the corner, so that's good. All right.
Just in time for the Yankees to lose a 1-game wild card at home again.
I'm going to that wild card. I bought my tickets the other day.
Well, here's the question, right? So you got how many we have left? 10 or 11?
I think they have 11.
I can't tell if it's 10 or 11, but I think depending upon what the Sox do, it could be 2 games after tonight.
Sox are crushing right now tonight. So
day 3.
Thanks a lot, Baltimore.
So you got 11 games left, and 3 is the difference. So you think there's no way that the division happens?
No. That'd be a miracle.
I mean, especially the Yankees had their chance. They've been playing very well. Boston is just winning every game in extra innings. Like they're losing until the 8th or 9th inning every night, tying it in the 9th and winning in extra innings every night. I went Monday night to the Yankees Twins game, and I was sitting next to this one of our
beefcakes,
one of our Latin American brothers and sisters in this country, and he was a Red Sox fan. And we were looking up at the scoreboard during the game, and we're watching, and Boston, takes the lead, but then they fall back down big. They fell down like 5-1, 6-1, and he's like, I look at him, I'm like, look. He's like, I am not worried. And I was like, okay.
Is that your Latin?
I think that was Indian. Was
that Indian?
I think that was Indian.
I don't think it was Indian. I think it was like Russian.
All right. Anyway, I can't do accent.
I am not
That's
worried.
just going to be his accent.
Sounded like
and so all of a sudden, Boston comes back to tie it. It's tied. He's laughing. He's having a good time. Baltimore jumps up again, 8-6, and he just looked at me, and I was about to leave the game, and he was like, "Do not worry, they win in extra innings."
I like how you doubled down on the bad accent. That's good.
Yeah,
they win in extra innings.
Sure enough, sure as shit, that's exactly what happened, and it's really frustrating because the Yankees have been playing super well, but they just can't catch the games, and now it's just gotten to a point that
but you know what? Here's the critical thing for the Yankees. If they don't win this wild card game at home against a pedestrian Twins team or a marginal A's team, either Angels, it's going to be a failure. But if they win and they move on and they lose to, the Bo Sox or the Stros or whatever, it's, they had a good year. They had a good year. We can build on this. Nobody expected that.
Yeah, I don't think it's a failure because of the way we talked about them coming into this year. It was like, hey, we got a lot of young guys. Let's just start getting them playing time. Let's see where everybody is. We got the final pieces of these contracts. Sabathia's big deals coming off. We finally stopped paying A-Rod after this year. We got 1 year left until Harper and Machado become free agents.
Oh, here we go.
Some money there. So Tanaka has an opt-out after this year. So there was a lot to be like, all right, we can continue to move forward even more and start to put pieces in place for a big run, eventually. And they're ahead of schedule. They're a year ahead of schedule, I think.
When you talk about a big run, you're probably talking about, some successful seasons, like in consecutive successful seasons.
Like back-to-back seasons.
And a belly to belly.
All right, let's make a concerted effort because this wasn't even on the rundown tonight.
Well, that's because Paul's not on.
Let's make a concerted effort next week to spend some actual time on baseball. Deal?
Yeah, I'm
Paul?
Yes, sir.
Paul?
Whatever, Paul.
Whatever, Paul.
You're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to let him hit it.
My bad.
All right. There's only a couple things left to do.
This is John Anthony here. I'm the $1 million man with a $1 billion plan. From Wall Street to Tokyo to Hollywood, all your big money is going to stay and play with me. That's right. That's why they call me the $1 million man.
$1 million man. Well, the $1 million man I am not. I did have a good week. I gave you 3 games to pick from. 2 winners.
Everybody's going to pay.
Kansas City win. Almost fucked me there in the end. And Oakland with the cover. The Redskins ruined the parlay for me. Kind of surprising. They showed up. Oh, well. What are you going to do? Season record 2-1. Balance in the bank account -25.
Okay.
All right. This week, I got 3 picks for you. First one, the LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. Take the under. They're playing tomorrow, folks. The over-under. 39.5. 39.5. Thursday night games have been garbage. I didn't look up the stat. I should have looked it up. Thursday night games are garbage. These teams aren't high-scoring teams. What happened to the Rams in week 1 was a fucking fluke. They're not going to put up 46 points. This is going to hit under all day long.
Okay.
Second game. Kansas City at the Chargers. Kansas City -3 on the road. Lay the points. Kansas City 7-0 against the spread in their last 7 on the road. And the Chargers are 0-7 straight up. 0-6-1 against the spread in their last 7. And the Chiefs has also won the last 7 games against the Chargers. Lock it up. Chiefs -3.
And the third game.
Again, I'm going with Oakland. There are a couple interesting spreads, which I'll get to here after this, but Oakland at Washington. Oakland is -3. Lay the points. Oakland's 3-0 in their last 3 versus the Skins, straight up and against the spread. And also, Washington stinks on ice when they play in prime time. 4-8 on Sunday Night Football since 2006. 2-6 in their last 8 on Sunday Night Football. They suck in prime time. I'm telling you right now, Kansas City, Oakland, LA, and San Francisco under. Lock it in. You're going to be a winner.
That's right. The $1 million man. Everybody's got a price for Yampo.
This is John Anthony. If you guys haven't watched that movie yet, you need to watch it.
I don't know. Your McConaughey impression kind of sounds like Brett's Latin American man impression.
His was better.
This is John Anthony.
Equally bad. Did you say you had some other lines you want to do, or do you?
I thought there was a couple lines that were really weird.
You want to do that last call, or do you want to do it now?
I'll just do it real quick. I won't spend a lot of time on it. I thought the Patriots -13 at home against the Texans is a pretty big line. I think Houston I think that one's a little tighter. And I thought what else was interesting, the Browns, for the first time in God knows how long, are favorites on the road at Indy, -1.
Good for them. That's it.
That's all I got.
All right, good stuff.
Hang on, bartender. Give me one more of those scotch and Peptos. I got a case of squirts, but I still want to drink.
Last call for alcohol. So
what you need. One bourbon, one scotch, one.
All right, we're coming to the end of the show. Let's go around the horn, see if anybody's got anything that they want to throw in before we head on into the sunset there for next week. Nikki.
I guess I would just say New Jersey Devils player Brian Boyle just got diagnosed with leukemia. So I would just say thoughts and prayers to him and his family and their battle. He's a true hockey player. Said he's ready. He'll be ready for opening night no matter what. That just epitomizes the hockey player.
Brutal news.
But good shout out though. I appreciate that. I think that's worth our time. Yampo.
Yikes. Got to follow that up. I think Brett and I are definitely due for a NHL segment, maybe in 2 weeks' time. The season kicks off, I think, first weekend of October, first Thursday in October. So we'll get to that. And then for those of you who know my degenerate gambling, take a look at the story on ESPN.com. Richard Sherman believes that the injury reports issued by the NFL on Wednesdays are an aid for people to bet more accurately on NFL games. Take a look at that. Guy is fucking batshit crazy.
I don't know if that's so.
Wait, I thought that's why they started releasing it.
It's a decades-old policy. How long?
I thought that's why they started it in the first place, was to aid gamblers to continue to throw money on games.
I have no idea.
I thought it was for the coach's game plan and stuff. No.
No. Get our intern look that up.
It's specifically for the gamblers to get their odds right, according to Richard Sherman.
Well, he might not be wrong. I mean, you think he's crazy, but I don't think he might be wrong. Brett, what do you got?
That was a Billy Joel song.
Is that a new Thorogood intro to Last Call?
There is.
I love it. Fear not, everybody. Roger Goodell's contract is going to get done, according to sources.
I'm so mad you took that from me.
Oh, I did?
No, that's good. Go ahead.
My apologies. No, that's it. I mean, thank God. Thank God. I can go to sleep.
We can sleep better at night knowing that there'll be still some more horrible decision-making going on at the top of the National Football League. But I guess Adam Silver and David Stern can't run every league. Going back to the NBA, the 76ers center Joel Embiid has not yet been cleared for 5-on-5 drills. He missed his first 2 NBA seasons, and he played only 31 games last year. When he plays, he's freaking awesome. But the guy can't stay on the floor, and he's a big man that just can't seem to stay healthy, which
it's like Bogut.
It just happens to all of them.
The Lakers just signed.
Yeah.
He did? He's still playing?
They're all still playing.
I'd be remiss if I didn't get one quick shout out into none other than our favorite, one of our favorite children of the podcast, Jace Matizak. Really appreciate him getting sick.
Thanks.
This past weekend, so I couldn't come by and see my good friend Brett and grab some Magnify and bring my kids into his household. So really appreciate that, Jace. I don't come up to Jersey that often. Thanks for ruining it, bro.
We also, in addendum, David, we had a Coxsackie scare as well.
What?
Coxsackie.
So Nick had one of those too.
Hey,
luckily he averted it.
Guys,
little known fact about Jace Matizak.
That fucking Instagram beefcake.
I don't know if you knew that. I mean, his Instagram is lit, really, is what it is. Just like ours. If you check us out on all social media, you can find us Low Outside Sport on Twitter. I believe it's the same thing on Snapchat, which I've been told is lit, but I'm not so sure that it is.
I don't know what the password is. So,
well, that's because we changed it on you after you demanded to use it when you went to meet Sean, and you decided to just shoot video of random dudes sitting at some house party that you were at.
Yeah, I'm not so narcissistic that I feel weird like doing. I feel overly narcissistic doing it. I don't like it.
Whatever, yeah, Paul.
Thanks for taking the time, everybody. We appreciate you joining us this week. Tell your friends. You can find us on Stitcher. I believe TuneIn is getting fixed this week. Yampo mentioned that earlier. We had it working, and then for some reason it wasn't working, and now hopefully it'll be working again. And obviously on iTunes. Low and Outside Sports and Beer. So until next time, everybody, we'll catch you down the road.
Desperandum, dear lady. Across the desert lies the promised land. Goodbye, Mrs. Gloop. Adieu. Auf Wiedersehen. Gesundheit. Farewell.
Fare thee well to you, my own true love. River Mercy, fare thee
thee well. I am bound for California, a place that I know right well. So fare thee well, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me, but my darling, when I think of thee. Now I signed on a Yankee clipper ship. Davy Crockett is the name, and the captain's name it is Burgess, and they say that she's a floating shame. So farewell, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me, but my darling, when I think of thee. Now I sailed with Burgess once before, and I think that I know him well. If a man's a sailor, he will get along. If he's not, then he's sure in hell. So farewell, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me, but my darling, when I think of thee. All right, yo! Sun is on the harbor, love. How I wish that I could remain, for I know that it will be a long, long time before I see you again. So farewell, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me, but my darling, when I think of thee. One more time. So farewell, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me, but my darling, when I think of thee.
Well, my hangover's gone and I'm thirsty for more.
That fucking Instagram beefcake